Oh my god, that movie was so good.
No, that movie literally sucked.
What do you mean? The acting, the action.
The graphics were horrible. The characters didn't even fit their roles.
You can't blame them with a budget like that.
The Geek Out Show presents
The Peanut Gallery
featuring hosts Gil and Matt.
and others.
Hey everyone, welcome to the newest episode of the Peanut Gallery. We're going to be discussing Moon Knight episode 2. I got me, Mr. Reaction tonight, and crime fighter extraordinary, Moon Knight.
Yeah, the white hoodie was not planned, but yeah, I'm very Moon Knight-ish over here. Summon the suit, right?
Yeah, summon the soup.
So
we're gonna leave.
Yeah, man.
Just because
it's just me and you tonight. We did have a guest host lined up, but that didn't work out, and Gil's taking a little time off, so it's just me and you, brother, here to talk all things Moon Knight episode 2.
We got a dynamic duo for you tonight.
Yeah, which is pretty fitting for the fact that we see two Moon Knights here. We see two sides of Mark Spector, so a lot to dive into here. Where do you want to start, man? How did you like the episode?
Let's wait for that a little. I don't want to spoil my reaction to the overall.
Oh yeah, you're not gonna just give it all up all at once, huh?
No, first I want to start with the fact that this episode ended up going completely different from where we all expected it to go. We all expected to see flashbacks of what happened in the previous episode, or at least a little bit of, what we had missed out on our first episode revealed here. None of that happened. We didn't get any of that. Took us right from the first episode ended, threw us right back in the pot. We get Oscar Isaac trying to figure out what happened in the museum the night before. So he goes back to his security guard friend, which, he's not his friend. He always calls him Scotty.
Yeah, all kinds of things. Sam.
And so he's trying to figure out, like, am I crazy or can people see this? And he looks.
Well, no, he's really sure that this actually happened and that everyone can see it. And
you're right. You're right. He's like 100% sure that, like, they're gonna see.
He's like, you're about to lose your shit when you see this, man. Like, you're gonna, I was probably one of the only ones that, I didn't really think it was going to go that way. I didn't think that we were going to get the flashbacks. I know that was kind of thrown around and stuff, and I'm glad we didn't. With the MCU, time is like, with all the stuff we've been getting involving time, it's nice to see a linear story. I hope we don't get a lot of flashbacks. I kind of want this thing to move forward. I think this episode was a good primer for that. It moved forward, but still slow. I think after what we got at the teaser at the end, not necessarily the teaser, maybe the stinger right there at the end. I think that's like, okay, now you're about to see all the cool adventure stuff.
It's about to get really crazy now, hopefully.
Which we got to see a lot of it here too. It was very MCU Indiana Jones-ish.
Yeah, it did have, that kind of feeling with the cult getting a hold of Steven yet again. He fell right back into their hands. Like, he's a dope. He does not.
Yeah, he's not trying to hide, right?
No, he thinks that I don't know what he thinks. I think he thinks he's lost his mind and that, like, another side of him is just doing all this crazy shit.
Well, yeah, we can backpedal a little bit. He finally, we're going to be all over the place, right? Like, that's just the way we run this show. Yeah, exactly. But he's starting to piece it together, and he's looking for the locker, right? After he realizes no one sees the video footage, and then finally goes to a storage facility and finds, where Mark Spector's been hanging out.
A man with a photographic memory.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah. And I think that's when he starts to realize, like, okay, this shit's real. Like, I'm not just imagining this. Like, there's a duffel bag with money and guns and passports.
That's a whole hideout in there, man. He got his little military setup, little, like, bed right there, a little cot in the corner.
It's a little stash house,
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, he could just stay in there if he wants. Well, obviously he does.
So, and he even is just like, and we're talking Steven, he's just like, I'm going to turn myself in. They're going to just dope me up, and I'm going to live the rest of my life in a mental house, and I'm totally okay with that. So you get a lot of back and forth with him and Mark talking him out of it, and basically assuring him through the whole thing.
And what's interesting is the way that Mark's not able to take control. That's
He has
one
to
of the
be
most
given
interesting
control.
parts to me. It's like it has to be given. So why is Mark always choosing to give Steven back control when he does?
Well, I don't think the dynamic was always like that either, because Mark says something along the lines of like, I don't know what's happening, but there used to be a wall between us, but that wall seems to be broken now. Like, this is the first time they're communicating. You know, we're seeing that all unfold.
The first time Steven is aware of Mark.
Yeah, it seems like Mark might always have been aware of Steven. So
Well, we know that from episode 1 where he kept redoing everything that Steven was doing to
yeah.
make himself like
So
stay in bed.
Steven has to be the split personality of Mark.
Like, yeah, like it was created to, you know, keep Mark safe, possibly.
We get to see a lot of Khonshu in here, man. I thought that was pretty cool. Like, they're all in on that aspect of this.
How do you feel about the voice of Khonshu?
I like it. Well, is it Murray Abraham, right?
Yeah, it doesn't bother me either. I think it's a little goofy, but I kind of like it. It's quirky. A lot of people have an issue with the voice.
When you read comic books, do you do voices in your head like that?
Oh, totally. Not like goofy. Usually, I mean, if it's like an Egyptian god, in my head, it's like more doom filled. You know, more booming.
Yeah.
More, you know,
Yeah,
bassy.
he is kind of the comedic relief a little bit. He says like, really, the idiot, the worm, like, you know, he says all kinds of shit like that.
He definitely doesn't sound like an Egyptian god when he talks. That's all.
Yeah,
like that's the only thing I get from it. But so yeah, what about Layla? Her introduction here.
So that's a pretty interesting dynamic too. She's Mark's wife.
Well, you know, in the middle of some issues too, because he had sent her divorce papers.
Well, I think they go into that a little bit more, where it's like he's trying to distance himself from her, keep her safe.
From Khonshu.
Khonshu wants her as the next avatar, and he's kind of sacrificing himself, and he more or less says that, right, to Steven.
Well, even says, when I'm done with you, you're not going to like my next person. You're not going to like my next avatar.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's very
he's not deceitful about it. He's honest with him straight up. He's like, I'm going to take, you know, the next avatar and you're not going to like it.
We get to see a little bit more about the MacGuffin in this whole thing. It's Amit's tomb.
Oh, the scarab. Yeah.
Yeah. The scarab is like a compass to the tomb. And that's what this, for lack of a better term, cult, Arthur Harrow's, it's Arthur, right? Arthur
Harrow, yeah.
Cult is looking for her so she can basically purge the world of evil.
Yeah.
Very, it's Minority Report, right?
Yeah. Get them before they've committed any kind of crime.
Right.
You already know what the outcome's going to be.
So we got a lot of answers. So I did like that. Like I said, I like the aspect that we're getting this. I'm really becoming a fan of this long form storytelling. But sometimes it feels a little too long. You know, I think after 6 episodes, I might go, that wasn't enough, but this is it. I hope we're done getting not done, but I hope we can move away from the dynamic of Mark and Steven's story and we get this Mark on an adventure kind of thing.
Yeah, I feel like Steven's going to be a main focus throughout the series, though. I think that conflict in his mind is going to be, you know, a main point of this first season, at least.
Like the struggle of taking the body back.
The struggle of having like a fractured mind, or, you know, like having multiple, you know, or having your, you know, maybe not multiple personalities as hard as that, but maybe having your mind and body pulled in multiple ways. You know, like in this life, we're always like, you know, you want to do one thing, but, you know, you have to do something else to make sure that you know, take care of what you're taken care of. So,
and we do see that Steven ultimately surrenders the body, but not before giving the whole Moon Knight thing a go for himself, man. So what did you think of that? Of like when he ends up being able to control the suit?
First of all, the superhero fall, superhero landing,
of course.
And then he failed it. That felt like a Deadpool thing, like just straight Deadpool to me. He played it off pretty well, though. Just kind of the way he kind of just slowly fell over.
Yeah, I feel like Mr. Knight is kind of not necessarily Deadpool-ish, but maybe in the way that he talks a little bit. So I think they kind of nailed it here. And I'm talking about the comics, from what little I've read of Mr. Knight stuff.
Well, I'm worried that they're just gonna use it as a one-time gimmicky thing. Like that was it. That was the only time we're gonna see that. I'm afraid.
No, I
That
think
that's how it's
we're
gonna
gonna. I think it'll be pretty prevalent. Like I was saying in the first episode when we were talking about this, like I think we get to see the Steven and Mark dynamic. We get to see the Moon Knight and Mr. Knight dynamic. Like we're gonna be switching through these 4 characters pretty often.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I don't think Steven's going anywhere soon. And okay, how'd you feel about the fight scenes in this episode? That's the one thing that really pulled me out of this episode.
So you're talking about Arthur summons the Jackal. We kind of get to see the extent of his power a little bit. We find out obviously it was right in front of our face with the camera, the security footage review that no one can see these things. But I don't know. But fighting an invisible object is always kind of cool. I think they probably got to save a little bit in CGI costs there. I think there's a technique for that more so than anything.
I think they had to use a lot of CG during that episode or during that fight because like when the Jackal's lifting up Layla, she's like hanging up off the ground and then he goes to fight it at the same time and it just looks like a CGI mess that whole point. Like the suit,
yeah, I might have to give it a closer rewatch, but it did feel a little clunky, man.
it looked very bad to me. And I understand it's a show, I understand, but Marvel like put a little more money and pride into this kind of stuff, especially if you're going to have hand-to-hand combat. At least make the choreography better. The choreography is where it is the base of everything.
Yeah.
If the choreography is top-notch, you don't have to jam it up the ass with special effects.
And I think we saw that in Daredevil. Yeah. Daredevil is like it's the peak for me in what an MCU show can be.
Oh, totally.
So, do we see Moon Knight come back to the States, or is this adventure London and Egypt?
I think we'll get a little bit of time in the U.S. Don't ask me why or when, but I feel like it will happen, especially since Mark is originally from, the U.S., I'm guessing. In this,
yeah, you know what I meant? I meant to see that on his passport where, I didn't really focus about it. But now that you're saying that, I wonder where it says he's from. So if it is like New York or something, we see him show up. I'm still holding on to hope that this is a Marvel Knights setup. I still don't think it's a coincidence.
Or maybe we don't see him in the U.S. Maybe we see Duchamp doing something in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
His partner, Frenchie.
Is Frenchie an actual superhero with a costume and stuff?
I believe he's just a mercenary.
Okay. So that's probably
kind of like what Mark would be without Khonshu.
So that's probably the next storyline is how does he get out of being a mercenary once this is all said and done?
Maybe, yeah. Because he did say, whoever killed him, maybe that's where he's going to end up afterwards. Because somebody killed him and then he was revived. We all know who killed him.
Now back to long form storytelling. How do you feel about debuting characters this way? Because this is the first time, other than like Kate Bishop and some other side characters, but Moon Knight is a main hero in this MCU. He's going to be, I would imagine.
I would love it if they put just a little bit more money and talent into the things that I think really matter in a comic book series, and that's the action. The storytelling is good so far. I don't have a problem with it, but the action, the CGI, those things need to be up to par for a character like Moon Knight, at least.
Oscar Isaac is definitely putting on a masterclass, though, man. Like his range is pretty awesome.
That ending scene where Mark had control and wasn't going to give it back to
Steven.
That was a pretty freaking tense scene, dude. And you could feel the that feeling that he had. It was like in Get Out when the guy goes to the sunken place. You had that feeling like you're trapped, dude. You're not going to get back. Like he's not going to give you, you're stuck. Like,
there's also some pretty wild dialogue where he's like, they're trying to explain what it's like being.
He's like, just take a breath, like don't try to take too much.
Like that's pretty interesting. I'm fortunate enough to not have to deal with something like that, but I wonder if there's some truth, to that dynamic, if that's how it actually is. I wonder how, for lack of a better term, real that is.
I think it's pretty real. I think it's like it's not just like I said earlier, it's not as dead on as just a mental disorder. I think it's also trying to hit the fact like that, you know, when you're depressed or something, you're not your same self that you always are, you know, or when, you know, when you have certain psychological issues bothering you, you're not the same person that you can be or that you should be or that you believe that you are. So I feel like it has a lot of deep undertones that we're not really picking up on quite yet, but I feel like throughout this, it will be more apparent.
And I think something, just to switch gears here, the MCU is good at, and these shows are a good reflection of that, is they can be funny, man. Like they make sure to, there's some comedic relief in there. There's a line that I really like where Steven's like, I had one bite of beef and then I'm like going crazy.
That was great. That was great.
I thought there's
exactly
some really
what a vegan would think, right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So
got the
I'm actually really liking it. I think being able to see it not necessarily in one sitting, but you know, watch maybe episode 1 and 2 like a movie, watch 2 and 3 and 4 like a movie, 5 and 6 like a movie. That might be the way to break it up.
Yeah, I think once I think once the series is over, I'm gonna go back and like watch it from start to end again, or from beginning to end again, just to get a better like wrapped up feeling of the whole series, you know, because I feel like when you watch one episode and then watch the other episode, it feels a little disjointed in the overall like mood of the show, but we'll see.
Absolutely. Does Oscar Isaac take this character to the big screen?
I would love to see him play Moon Knight in the MCU. That'd be great. I don't. Does it look like to you that he even got that jacked for this role though?
No, he looks just normal.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he did the normal like every other celebrity gets super shredded.
It could be his clothes and posture and shit like that.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have your typical like Captain America posture where it's just he's kind of he's kind of like me. He's like
So this episode was called Summon the Suit. We got to see quite a bit of that, you know, in the third act of this episode. What do you think of the 2 suits we actually saw? And I thought it was funny that, just side note, the play on the, well, this is what I think of when I think of a suit. It's like a 3-piece suit. You know?
I thought that was great. The Mr. Knight suit looks awesome. I really like it. I especially like the part when Mark was like, give me control. And he's like, you know, I think I can handle this. And then he turns around and just starts like trash talking the Jackal. That part was hilarious. And then he just got mocked. But
the suits themselves, like, you're okay with them?
Oh, I love the suits. The suits look great. I can't wait till we see the black suit. If we get to see it.
Do you think, I was going to say, do you think we do, or is that like in the next phase, in the movie version, who
knows? Honestly, I don't. It could happen. It could be held back. I mean, they already gave us Mr. Knight in episode 2, so anything's possible.
I imagine it probably would be, because they. I mean, that means more toy sales. That means more everything. They do that with every single.
Marvel
no characters have the same suit twice.
No,
you know, ever. We got to see a little bit of merchandise too. That was pretty cool. We didn't do a show, but we got to see 2 Marvel Legends of both suits. I'm out on Marvel Legends, but I'm probably going to pick these up, man, honestly.
Yeah, I'm out on Marvel Legends too. I have both the Mezco Moon Knights, so I really don't feel a need to get any other Moon Knights until I see one that maybe resembles the actual Disney Plus version of the costume.
Do you think Mezco will do that?
Probably not.
If
they do get to it, it won't be for like 3 or 4 years. So I mean,
I would say, does Mezco even do MCU stuff? Not really, right? They kind of dabbled in it.
No, they haven't really been doing too much. They haven't really done. I don't think they've done any Disney Plus stuff. So no, they're too far behind, dude. They can't catch up.
No, you're probably right.
Real quick, before I forget, can we go real quick and check out what are some comments from the viewers?
Yeah, absolutely. Real quick before we do that, what's your overall thoughts of the episode?
Corny.
For
me, it was corny. The CGI kind of took me out of it, and there was just some parts that just felt kind of cheesy. I mean, yeah, I get the comedic style. I get that. It was just a little too heavy-handed in this episode, I feel.
Yeah, I'm kind of there. I need to watch it again, really and truly. I kind of just watched it for the sake of watching it, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I watched it twice, and the second time I had a really hard time like staying focused because like that's how much it was not like
of interest,
not heavy enough to like hold my attention.
Yeah. Well, let's see the few, we have millions upon millions of listeners, but we're only going to take a couple of comments here.
Yeah, we only have time for a few. So, AZ Toy Hunters Guild, Mighty Mouse says, all the hype on this character. The first episode caught my attention. Let's see where this goes. I wonder how he feels now after seeing the second episode.
Yeah, hit us up because I'm interested to know as well. We get to see more of in which character. We're talking about 4 different characters here, so I'm glad. I'm glad we're moving around along.
OG right here, Seth said, confusing but exciting. Sounds like a lot of things for him. I've never read much Moon Knight, so his backstory is new to me. Excited for the rest of the series. Feel free to use my quote.
Yeah. Thank you for giving us permission to publish.
I've any royalties.
I've read a little bit of Moon Knight, not enough to know a lot about him. So this is cool. This is like a good little, not necessarily a refresher, but a crash course in what and who all the characters of Moon Knight are.
I'm right there with you guys too. I know bits and pieces about the character. It's very scattered what I actually know about him. I've read like bits and pieces of comics from him. I've never actually read a complete Moon Knight run, I don't think. I did read that
on the current run. I'm current on that.
Oh, nice.
Episode issue 10 just came out today. So
I read that Devil's Reign, and that was it was pretty cool. It was basically about Moon Knight getting sent to prison so he could kill the Juggernaut.
Nice.
Or at least like mess him up good enough to where he wouldn't mess with his daughter or his ex-wife. So pretty interesting the way that turned out. It was a fun read. All right. Now our last comment is from Augustine, our buddy Augie over here. Augie. I don't know much of the character, but I really enjoyed it. I felt like Oscar Isaac killed it, and his portrayal of doing numerous characters and accents was amazing as well. One small issue I did have was the CGI, especially during the car chase scene, but I know it's hard to get it perfect when it's a show and not a movie, so the budget is more limited.
Yeah, I'm curious what the budget actually is, because, I mean, I want to say shit like Obi-Wan and Mandalorian's budget's pretty damn high.
I was going to say, most of these Disney Plus shows have a really high budget, but you got to think, 6-hour-long episodes, that's a lot of money regardless, you know?
Oh, yeah, with some pretty all-star talent here, too. I'm looking it up, so filibuster while I'm looking this up.
Well, one last thing I wanted to hit up. One thing side cast. We want to give a special birthday shout out to Gil's daughter, Leilani.
Happy birthday, Leilani.
Happy birthday. We hope you're feeling better. We hope you're doing good. And we hope you're having a great birthday. Birthday week, because, you get a whole week. Don't forget. Don't let your parents forget that.
Eat lots of cake and make your dad do everything. He should probably do a little more than he already does.
Don't put that on, Gil. That's a lot.
That's why it was a little bit of sarcasm there. Gil, we know you do it all, brother.
We know you got it, bro. All right. So
I'm not finding anything budget wise, but I want to say, man, I bet you it's, I don't know, 10 million an episode. You think maybe more?
Yeah, I wouldn't. I'm sure they probably put 75 million at least into this whole series.
Well, this is from 2019. It says that it could be as high as 150 million. So with the success of Disney Plus and all of its shows, and
you got to get that CGI looking better, baby.
Yeah, if it's costing you that much. But I agree. I do agree with Augie. Oscar Isaac's putting on a motherfucking clinic, dude.
Yeah, he's teaching some things. So what's your overall thought on the series so far? 1 and 2 in the bucket.
I really like the series. I like where it's going. Like I said at the beginning, I think we're getting to that point where, like, let's get into some adventure stuff. Let's get into, like, it's been a lot of chasing a MacGuffin, which I guess we still kind of are.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I'm still very interested in this character. Very interested in this series. Like, I'm not giving it up anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, it's 6 episodes long. If you're a Disney fan, if you're a Marvel fan, there's no reason why you won't be watching this. I know. I mean, I'm pretty sure most every Marvel person just jumps on these series regardless.
I mean, we all do, right?
The only one I had a hard time really watching was the What If series, and I feel like that's because I just wasn't giving it like its fair shot. But I'm definitely gonna have to go rewatch that whole series again, because apparently they're starting to make things from the What If series like start to line up. So
I think we're in for a wild ride here. And what is this, phase 4?
phase 4, yep.
So
With no Fantastic Four still.
that'll probably be the kicker at the end.
Yeah, that's the final stepping stone to the phase 4. We get to see the Fantastic Four one time, and
Yeah,
that's it.
kick
We
off.
gotta wait 3
phase 5.
years for phase 5 to start.
Hell yeah!
Well,
so I guess until next week, we'll stay tuned. Be on the lookout for a regular episode of the Geek Out Show where it'll be me and Matt, and we should have a new Cantina coming out with me and my buddy Heath, which he's supposed to be on this episode, but he's too busy being a dad to a
life got in the
newborn or
way.
something like that. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever excuse he's making. And then obviously Gil's going to take a couple of weeks off to spend some time with some family. So just, I want to thank everyone for listening and being here with us and all of our little shows and endeavors and listening to us BS.
Yeah. Jay, where can they find you?
J-Roo Toys on Instagram and on pretty much all the shows on the Geek Out Show Network.
And you guys can find me at MajorReaction_IG on Instagram and Major Reaction on YouTube. You actually have to look up the channel name because otherwise you get reaction videos. I know it's annoying.
Yeah, here's my major reaction to listening to Stevie Ray Vaughan for the very first time
in
or some
2022.
shit like
Yeah.
that.
Go die, please. But yeah, so thanks everybody for tuning in. Make sure you check out all the other great shows on the Geek Out Network feed. Sorry, I'm having a little bit of tongue tie over here. It's time for me to go eat some food and hit the hay.
Heard that.
But for the rest of you guys, stay geeked up and geeked out. Later.
Peace.